Welcome, welcome, beautiful people, to my channel where we deep dive into a little bit of everything. We're all about fun, shady reviews, candid conversations, and honest social commentary. But remember, this is a safe space where we aim to have a good time. Our opinions are all in good fun, and remember, no offense or harm is ever intended. I'm your girl, Tammy. Hit that subscribe button and let's get started. Okay, y'all, so let's just jump into it. Just a few quick notes up front. I am not a blow by blow recap person. So if that's what you came for, you came to the wrong channel. I am here to just give my opinion and just talk about the scenes I feel like that stuck out to me the most. So I hope y'all continue to join me because that's my thing. Um, I don't know. For this is I know we're going through like episode 1, and I kind of want to do a little bit of a breakdown. I have to admit, y'all, it was so hard to find each cast member and the assets for this because I feel like they just didn't really do a lot of promo for Ready to Love this season. It kind of just got thrown out there. I don't know what the situation is. So, like I said, I'm just going to kind of highlight what the interesting parts to me, but I do want to break down the cast a little bit. So I'm just gonna go blow up with the women first, and then hit on to the men. So first we have Aries. She's like a software engine manager, I think. I think she has her own podcast as well. She's one of the older women, and she does not look it. Sis is fabulous looking. Already off the bat, she's one of my favorite people. After watching this episode, she seems like very light. She's intelligent and feminine and grown. Um, I think some of the men could possibly have an issue with the two kids, but hopefully not, because she seems to be very confident and stern and forward and just a great mom. But, sometimes things don't work out and you sort of back out there again. And most of the men on the show should probably be around the same age. So you would assume that a woman would have kids at that point. So she really reminds me of Nia Long, y'all. I don't know if I'm tripping or not, but very pretty face, very well put together, not doing too much, not doing the most at all. I really like her. I'm interested to see where things go with Aries. Next, we have Unique. She's 32, I think. She's a TV and film producer. I don't know. Her energy to me during this first episode was very weird. Just some of the commentary she had, we're gonna talk about that thought job comment. And, just some of the energy she was given was a little awkward to me. I also just think just the way she was sort of sitting, I don't know. She just kind of is like, it's not that much for me. So we'll kind of see what happens. Next, we have Jessica, 38. She's an entrepreneur. Jessica's pretty, but I don't care. I don't care. I don't know. She didn't stand out to me. She certainly asked a lot of questions and she definitely had a lot of eye movement. Pretty girl, I just want to see more. I don't really know or feel like we got her personality. I think all of the women out to me are beautiful this season. Again, just fabulous looks, hair. We've really upgraded. I think almost every season there have been beautiful women on Ready to Love, but sometimes we had a little bit of we could have worked it up a little bit here and there, but I definitely think these last 2 seasons, they've been really going at, I think, the consistency of the women looking really fabulous and keeping up that appearance because it is a television show. Um, so I'm really, really enjoying like so much of the fabulousness of the different women. I'm interested to see, how Houston's going to work. But so far, I really like Aries. I think out of the group here so far. So we'll see how it goes. Let's move on. Okay, y'all. So next set of women, we got Sierra. She's 33. She's a stylist. This episode for me, just getting introduced to sis. I love the blonde hair. She has a very cute sense of style. I don't know. I feel like Sierra comes off like she's a bit high or drunk all the time. I think that's her personality, but she just seems a little aloof for me. She's adorable, beautiful sense of style, gorgeous woman, tall. Just I don't know. Let me know in the comments, how did y'all feel? Do y'all feel like she always is kind of doing like these little quirky things? It gives a little aloof or gives a little bit like I'm always showing up a little high. I don't know. Y'all tell me what y'all think. But so far she's cute and I'm interested to see, where her personality is going to go, if she's going to last on the show. She kind of reminds me of Ida. Ida from, I think, Houston. So we'll see how it goes. Next up, we have Miss Janelle. Janelle is another one of the women in her 40s. She's 42. She's an entrepreneur. And I have to give y'all full disclosure. I actually really like Janelle. I have high expectations for her. Sis is like an OG Black girl blog IG curvy fashion, interior design, home decor, lifestyle influencer. She's been around for quite a few years. If you follow any like Black female influencers that are in the home decor space or in the interior design space, that's her arena as well as fashion. So she's interviewed a lot of my favorite fashion bloggers that are also fabulous Black girls. Maybe I'll do some content on that soon. And I'm excited to see her on the show. I can't front though. I saw her IG a couple weeks back, and I know she kind of did one of those things that people always do when they know that they've kind of acted a little bit of an ass on TV. She did like a little iOS press release about, um, behavior and all that kind of stuff. So I kind of am a little worried because I do not know the personality of that person. I definitely know like the very solid, on point, confident, curvy Black blogger, like I said, into all of those spaces. And I know her to be just very intelligent and also very much somebody who was not afraid to talk about their Christianity with their content, when it wasn't popular to do so. She's always like kind of led that way. So I'm certainly interested to see how it's going to turn it out. But I promise y'all I'll be fair and I'll call people out when I feel like they're doing something wrong. But I'm definitely looking forward to Miss Langford and her energy. I think a lot of people are going to be a little shocked because she is very confident. And I think sometimes people don't expect a girl who is a bit more on the curvy side to be as confident or be as flirtatious or be very feminine. They expect her to be maybe meek or more wanting. I feel like on some of the other seasons, are Ready to Love, whenever they have like the curvier girls, they tend to like either be extremely aggressive or be very like just don't feel wanted or needed. And Janelle has always given me like I'm as confident as anybody else in the room and I'm not afraid to be an alpha female. So we'll see how that rubs people. Next up we have Lee. I think Lee is around 30, 34. She is a health and wellness coach and a gym owner. It was hard for me to find some of these people's IG pages, but I'm telling you, Miss Lee, it was hard for me not to find a fitness shop, and I wanted to see sis in something beautiful. She is stunning. Lee is literally a chocolate fit Barbie. Like, girl is everything. Um, I don't know. I love her energy so far. She seems very authentic. She's one of the least annoying um women that I've seen on these shows. Sometimes the women's personalities can be a lot. She's very chill and laid back. I love seeing Black women in fitness spaces promoted more. As a person who's kind of like been in and out of fitness in terms of like just naturally, physical fit. I ain't never had no, certifications for nothing or worked out in no gym heavy, but I've always been a girl in between weight. And when I've been on my smaller side, getting in the gym and finding other Black women that were doing stuff before like the last 4 or 5 years was hard. You really couldn't find a lot of Black women. I would say even like the last 7, 8 years in that space. So I love seeing Black women thriving in the fitness space. I'm excited to look and see more of Lee. And I like her energy with Quentin. So we're going to see how that goes. Let's move on. Okay, so next up we have Tequila. She's around 35, I think. She's an executive assistant. Now, let me tell y'all something. Okay. Like I said, I'm trying to give all the ladies a chance. This is the first episode. We're going to get deeper into individual scenes. But when I tell you, anytime that I see somebody on a show and, their name is like similar or adjacent to a popular liquor, I'm already side eyeing you. Because I just don't know how you're gonna show up. I'm like, are you gonna really act like somebody on Bacardi or tequila or whatever? But I'm trying to give her a chance. So and I have to say personally, I just wasn't feeling some of the desperation and the clinginess. I definitely understand it can be really difficult on these shows. You don't want to, you want to get people want to get chosen, and I think that she definitely was thrown off. But we'll see. I don't want her to just compromise so much of who she is. And I want to tone it down just a little bit on fighting for strangers. It feels weird. Next we have Kira. She's 30. She's a realtor. She's the youngest, I think, on the show. So normally, I know y'all, we all been watching Ready to Love for a while now, and I think they normally try to throw in somebody 30, 31. I wonder how much the thinking is with that, because they normally throw a 30-year-old person in there that they just left 29, and their energy suggests that, and then they usually have like one other person that's 30, 33, and it's like if you don't match with them, it kind of throws off. I think maybe because they feel like women are more mature at that age, but I also think sometimes they be setting people up. But I feel bad for the younger folks sometimes. I'm wondering if the connection, I saw that a little bit with Mark Anthony and Mercedes last year, and I'm just like, I don't really know where they going with this. Tommy, y'all talk to us about this. Um, but I do love her bubbly energy. She definitely gives cheerleader vibes, as she is a former cheerleader, it looks like. But I could see a couple of things getting annoying over time. One is a little bit of her voice. It's a little perky-ish. Sometimes a little too perky. And them white boots. So we gonna talk more about that. But yeah, I don't get it. But we'll see how it spins out with Sis. And then of course we have Leanne. She's 49. So I think she's the oldest woman on the show. I think it's Leanne, then Aries, then Janelle, and then I think it goes from there. But Leanne, Sis body is firm, tight. She is also a private trainer, I believe, and I believe she owns a gym. I love, like I said, seeing fabulous Black women, especially in their mid 30s and 40s, just in shape together. Is always something that I'm striving towards. And as somebody who's gained a lot of weight and then lost weight and then gained weight back and trying to get back to losing weight, it can just be so difficult. So I love seeing that inspirational visual right there. I don't know. I wasn't feeling a lot of Leanne's makeup looks. I think sometimes women who are very fit, especially when they're gotten firm in a lot of places, or they've been in bodybuilding maybe, or done a lot of strength training work within their life, some of their facial lines can be a bit harsher depending on how it looks. And sometimes when you work with that with makeup, and I think when you add on like a heavy lashes, it kind of gives Muppet. And I hate that for her, because I think like I said, everybody on the show is beautiful. Her body is incredibly toned. Sis's legs are amazing. But I got to be honest, Leanne also made me laugh. I absolutely understand why she got to work out, because she was eating up a storm in this episode. Do you hear me? So I wasn't shocked, but we're gonna see as we move along, and find out what's going on. Let's move on to the menses. Okay, y'all. Now I didn't pick up everybody's. I think everybody's like occupation, so I'm gonna kind of run through it what I can remember. But next up we have Red. Red, I believe, is in his 40s. He's a comic and a DJ. Red gives me Deacon on Sundays vibes. He definitely is. I think he's funny looking, not necessarily was he super funny, but he's not like an unattractive guy. I don't think any of the men on this season are necessarily like unattractive. They're definitely like an acquired taste. He does give, like, he could possibly have a little fun or energy vibes, and I definitely don't think he gave off any weird vibes to any of the women. So that to me is like the parameter for, or really the barometer for me for Ready to Love, is that the men just aren't creepy. And so far, I haven't gotten those vibes in too many of the men. So we'll kind of see how it goes. I also think the way he handled the exchange with Unique was really good, because I think I would have cussed her ass out. You gonna call my job a thought job? There's just a way to handle that as a grown person. I mean, comic or not, like if that was in reverse, we would have definitely been upset. But anyway, we'll talk more about that later. Next, we have Chris. I think he's in his mid 30s. He's Nigerian. I can't remember what he did for a living. I know he was the first person that arrived at the house. Very, very cute little package, small, adorable. Gives off nice, nice vibes, beautiful smile. I wonder how the cultural aspect plays in terms of like traditionalism and how he sees women, because saying that a woman needs to accept your culture as a Nigerian man, as somebody who has Nigerian people in their family. I am African American, but I have relatives that are, married to Nigerian folks. And so, we got all the culture, but, people have different ideas about how that should look. And if you have any Nigerian girlfriends, offhand, like, just like the men in our culture are extra, they're extra too. And there's stuff with them, like it's stuff with, African American men. So understand, like, it ain't just no walk in the park. So I really want to go back to what he was saying about that. Is it just like the food and the cultural acceptance of something a little bit different? Because I think most Black women are open when it comes to culture and the diversity in terms of like maybe respect on how those things. But I wonder if it's also religious and stuff. So I really want to see what he has to say. And then next we have Mr. Marvin. believe he's also in his 40s, and Mr. Marvin is an erotic author. And he is also a dominatrix or he's a dominant, excuse me. So I don't know how I feel about Mr. Marvin. I feel like I have no issue with men who are in like sex work or who are in specifically the sex industry. I don't have an issue with what he does for a living. People read erotica, people buy erotica. Porn is $1 billion industry. We obviously go to strip clubs and do that. People just engage in the sex industry. So it's fake to make it seem like there's a real offense with it. I think for me, what really was a little bit of the we're going to see what the red flag is, the dominant part, because I'm wondering where that extends. Is that something that he feels only in the bedroom? I know he put on some type of live shows, and then like, or does that extend to lifestyle? Because there are people who don't just believe in the dominant part in just the sexual sense. They believe in it in terms of their lifestyle, meaning that the woman that they're with is submissive in tons of different aspects, meaning when she gets home, she's submissive and she takes on that role. As soon as she gets through that doorway, that's the energy that's in their household. It's not just, when it gets down to a sexual component. So I really want to see him explain more about that lifestyle and specifically what he means by being the dominant. And I want to see if some of the women are going to be open to it. I feel like that could be a little bit tough, at least for my ass. I wouldn't be comfortable necessarily being in like a dominant role with someone. There needs to be a little bit of a half and half. And so having somebody that's always trying to dominate in a situation, I wonder how that works. If some of y'all are into the dominant submissive or BDSM, have you tried it? Do you know? Drop it down in the comments. Let us know, like, what are we missing, or maybe what I'm missing in terms of how I look at the dominant thing, because I'm definitely interested to learn more about Mr. Marvin. And let's move on. Okay, ladies. So here we are with our next set of brothers. So next up, we have Quentin. I think Quentin is in his 30s. He's also a fitness instructor and personal trainer. He's definitely like one of the cutest guys to me on this season. Great body, obviously in shape. So far, I'm liking Quentin. I like his smile. He comes across very personable to all the women. He obviously is not bad looking on the eyes. I love his energy with some of the different women, and I especially love his energy with Lee. So I'm very, very interested to see how that is going to turn, because I definitely felt the chemistry with them immediately, and I'm interested to see how it translates the rest of the season. We're gonna see if he connects with anybody else. I ain't got too much more to say on him. Brother is fine. He's in shape. He looks great, and so far he hasn't rubbed me the wrong way. Next up, we have Herbert. I don't remember what he does for a living. I do not think he's in his 40s. For me, Herbert wasn't my cup of tea. I'm not on the show, so it doesn't matter. But he wasn't my cup of tea, but I did appreciate that many of the women enjoyed talking to him. So it sounds like he has a pretty good personality. I could see some of the sarcasm he had going on. So that also to me, it's something I love in a guy's a great personality. So I'm interested to see. I do think his locks are beautiful. So I do, I like men that just take care of themselves groom wise. He seemed like he was cool. He was interesting. I'm interested to see how it's going to work out with him and some of the ladies. I noticed that him and Janelle had a little bit of a vibe for a minute. And again, he was great with the jokes. And I think he was a great example of how you joke and are still a gentleman at the same time. So I absolutely am interested to see what's going to happen with him. And to see if they're a love connection, because it seemed like they were really into each other, and them being around the same age, I kind of feel like that was cool, especially I think neither one of them have kids. So there was a lot they seemed to connect on. So I'm interested to see what's going to happen with Herbert. Next we have Morier, or I'm gonna call him for the rest of the season, Pastor Mo. He just gave straight up Sunday church, early morning, first service, not second service vibes all the way through. I appreciate Morier. It was nice to see a bigger guy on the show. I can't remember if any of the seasons they had anybody who was a little thick. I cannot remember. But if they were, they weren't really cute. I think he actually has a really cute vibe. Good old Southern Alabama preacher. I was feeling him early on. You can see he has a sense of spirituality. I love the sensitivity he gave. And when talking about his dad, as somebody who has lost a parent, I absolutely understand my dad specifically. I understand the pain that he was feeling. And I absolutely loved how much he was focused on knowing how, death can make you think about your life and where you want to be, and certainly wanting to add marriage into that. I want him to slow down on saying like I need it to happen fast. Because you want it to be the right thing. But so far, Morier is giving me, Pastor Mo is giving me positivity. I loved how he spoke life into Tequila towards the end of the episode, when she really needed it. You could just tell he's a solid individual. Like, even if he doesn't meet anybody on the show, he seems like he would be a good friend. But he also seems like the type of man that, you talking about having a man in your life and speaking life into you. It's a positive thing. So I'm interested to know more about his story. Let's move on. Okay, and so our last set of men, finally, child, we getting through these photos and these pictures, because we ain't talking about these guys no more. Once we get them on here, then we just gonna be hitting on to the season, and then we gonna be done. But I love y'all for hanging out with me and chilling. So next we have Brandon. Brandon, I believe, is in his 30s. Brandon's story was very unique. As we know, he has, I believe, 4 kids and was married to the same woman twice. Brandon, what the hell you doing on this show? It is clear that they either at this point were just looking for bodies to fill for the different spots just to add some spice. But when I tell you, Brandon, while being very attractive, and I believe he is like works on trains, or he is a conductor, it's safe to say that he needed to hop on the next Amtrak and head on home. I don't know what's going on, but the fact that they put him on this show, they definitely playing in our face. Tommy, we told you to get your stuff together, so I can't even believe y'all added him on here, knowing damn well. Anyway, moving on to Philip. Philip, I think he has one child. I believe he's in his late 30s, early 40s. I don't remember what he does, and I barely could find a picture of him online. Philip was interesting, and I think he, for the most part, held his own, but he gave me the same vibes as Jessica. Like, I cared and didn't care. So I need to see more personality as the show goes on with him, because right now is giving snooze fest. Again, I think all of the men, have some level of attractiveness. So it's not anything like that, but he just gives me, you know, new person that works in your office that you pass on right by, because I'm like, huh, who? It's giving carbon cutout. It's giving boring. So I need him to sort of spice it up in terms of us getting to know his personality more. And then, of course, last but certainly not least is Habibi. Habibi is a saxophonist and a clown at the very same time. I believe Habibi is in his 30s. Um, I can't. I can't with Habibi on multiple levels. He definitely is the Corey of the season. So they just threw him in there to just be, I think, just a sideshow attraction and to get us interested in the season. Um, it's clear by the end that the women think the exact same way. For me, Habibi was just, it was all over the place and nowhere at the very same time. It was just hard at times to hear him speak. And I really don't understand it. Y'all, correct me if I'm wrong and get me together on this. But I can't understand. And for the life of me, I'll never understand. I myself have traveled quite a few places, internationally and domestically, and I never understand people who come back from trips. And I understand being inspired or feeling like you've connected with the culture. I worry about people who come back from those countries and sort of wear the culture like a costume. Because I don't like what other folks do it with us. And I'm not saying like, hey, you don't come back and you've been so inspired if you like lived in any part of Africa for a period of time and you come back and you're really into like wax print or just outfits and, certain things. But sometimes it could come across a little costumey. It's like you're cosplaying the culture. And that's what Habibi is giving me. I also have questions about his career, and I need proof. Um, he's a traveling musician, is giving unemployed. And so I just really I want to see more, and I wanted to go away at the very same time. But y'all let me know how y'all feel about Habibi, because he was definitely extra. Okay, y'all, so let's get into this show. I definitely just wanted to take a moment to understand. So we're in Dallas right now. So I heard so one of the things I actually really love about Ready to Love is the way that they sort of tape both like cities back to back. They normally give us two seasons. I think it's incredibly smart. It's clear that Will is following the Tyler Perry way of things. Get into that syndication number, honey. So I think they already met it. But I kind of like that they do two back to back. So we kind of get like a the first time, and then we kind of get a refresher just in case the first time is embarrassing. And we know we've had some seasons where we like, could have left that season alone. Nothing will be season one to me though, but that was still what it was. But I also enjoyed Houston. And I love that we get to spend a little time in each city for a minute and they don't move on right away, especially because black folks only in certain areas anyway. We're only in like 15 cities for real in dominant numbers. And so I love that they spend a little bit of time in each of these places. Um, I know we're spread out everywhere in the US, but as far as like population wise, we're only in about 15 to I think 20 cities in the US where we're like the dominant number or this is significant black places. You got New York, Atlanta, DC, LA, Chicago. It's like the same couple of places that we kind of all reside in like a little bit of a mass. So I love seeing that. Texas is beautiful and I love how spread it is. I'm also interested that it's in Dallas because I hear so much of black women on the dating scene talking about how they feel like Dallas is more family oriented than let's say Houston, where they're a little bit more singles. So I'm definitely interested to see, how they break down the Dallas dating scene. So I'm excited that it's in Dallas. I heard that they've already taped the second season, and now their next season is going to be in New Orleans, one of my favorite cities. So um, I'm glad that we have this cast here, and welcome to Texas. I just want to give a little shout out and love to Tommy. I'm actually glad that Tommy is back and he's in great health. I don't think I would have wanted another host for this show. I oftentimes see comments of people like, "Hey, they need to get a new host here." I actually really like Tommy as the host. I think he has the right vigor and attitude for it. I'm glad to see him back in good health. And I know we're gonna get a bunch of matching ass outfits this season. So I'm looking forward to always seeing his clothing as well. Tommy stays sharp though, I will say that. So it's interesting to see that we're going to get to see him more, and I'm glad he's doing better health wise. I know he was ill a little bit or going through some type of cancer treatments or something, so I'm glad to see like he is on his full footing. And I think he's the best host for this type of stuff. I'm hoping we get better Tommy this season in terms of defending the women, in terms of being more vocal with the men about bad behavior, things like that. I just want to see him impress upon them more. And I want to see him step up when things are disrespectful during certain periods and making sure that there's a zero tolerance policy when it comes to the ignorance. So, y'all, I want to kind of look at their fashion a little bit because I feel like we don't talk about this enough at the mixer. One of the things that I see a lot of people be like really confused on, or sometimes I'm seeing people like not knowing what to do. And some parts that I really love is the fashion on the show, but I really love to see what people are going to wear to the mixer. This season, they really showed out. I thought most of the women, if not all of them, were dressed very well for the mixer. This is how you should look. So often in some of the seasons, I see people, they look, they're going to different events. They're coming from different places, or they're wearing things that they really wouldn't feel comfortable. These people are together for hours upon hours with each other, getting to know each other, usually from sun up to sundown. And I love seeing so many of the women with their hair done. Nobody looked crazy towards the end of the night. People were wearing dresses that fit and that work for their body shapes. Everybody it was really a beautiful outline to see. So I was really, really happy to see so many people well dressed. The colors looked amazing on us. Our hair looked great. So I was actually impressed. Dallas showed up and showed out. That being said, I do think Dallas showed up and showed out when it came to these clothes. But if I see them white boots any other time past this episode, when I tell you I was so annoyed with her in them white boots every 5 minutes, they were too loose. They were weird. It did not make sense. She's a beautiful girl. The dress was cute. What were we doing with those white boots, Kara? Who was asking for this? And then Habibi and trying to cosplay Dubai. It didn't make a lot of sense to me. Brother was all over the place. But for the most part, most of the men were dressed very well again. The women were dressed excellently. But if I see them white boots, y'all, This is the thing. We're gonna take a shot every time we see them white boots if she put them on any other time this season. But I was just like, why did she leave the house and then decided to throw on the boots? Because Habibi was taking off his coat at one point, saying it was super hot there. So I know she was hot in them white boots. This was not cheerleading practice. Now we got to talk about this situation with Marvin. So we know everybody's at the mixer, getting along, sitting, chit chatting. They start getting into these groups and start having conversations. And so at some point, Marvin is sitting down with Janelle. I'm sorry, not Marvin. I'm Brandon is sitting down with Janelle, and they start having conversation. And so the conversation starts including other people in the group, and Janelle is sort of talking to him about his life, and they're just having a little back and forth. And he reveals that he was married to his wife twice, and they have 4 kids together. They got together early. I think they were pretty young when they got together. They got married, they had children, they then divorced and then got remarried, and he's 6 months fresh out of the divorce with 4 babies. No, hell to the no, sir. Ain't nobody fitting to date you. And what was the audacity to me of Ready to Love again playing in our faces, makes us know that this show is barely serious, is the fact that they would never, if it was a woman on this show, she'd be the topic of so many male podcasts right now, talking about how dare you show up with 4 kids and you, be married twice to some man you 6 months out of your divorce. What the hell was Brandon doing there? Was he doing a favor for Tommy? Why was he on the show? And the shocking part was that he had to know it was off, because everybody that he met, once they heard the story, there were men that heard the story that was like, what the hell is he doing here? They were fascinated by the fact that he was in that situation. I was shocked that he was shocked. Sir, you're 6 months fresh out of a 10 plus year relationship. How we know you're not going to leave here and go see her after this? It just is giving set up yourself for drama if you were to get involved. It just was a no-go. Sir, you need to at least be divorced for a solid 2 years before you start dating anybody. I think men overlook the healing process when it comes to stuff like this. Like, I think it's really important that, when you leave divorce situations, especially when you have this many kids involved, you need to leave already with a setup in place. So, I need you to have a good solid year of being a dad and just being with your kids and working out your co-parenting situation. And then, another year of maybe you going out and doing rebound things, with random people before we meet and we start talking about love. Because it's just giving you haven't healed, and all of the issues of the 10 years and them 4 kids going to show up in our new relationship. And that I cannot have. Okay, so let's talk about Habibi the Clown. So yeah, already I know we were pretty much all given the same face that Jessica was given in this moment. That's why I chose this scene. This fool thinking that pineapple was cheese already said in my head that we just gonna see more silliness and more silliness. And here's the thing. I like a guy who's fun. I like a guy who's funny. I don't like goofy men in the sense of like just being goofy for no reason, especially at a certain age. I want you to have a great sense of humor. I like a sharp wit. I like all of that. But Habibi just gave that they were scraping the bottom of the barrel. And at this point, they were just DMing men saying, come on the show. And they were giving us anything. I don't know. It wasn't giving anything the whole time, but just constant silliness. I also want to know, who are these people in Dubai that's asking him to come back? He's giving me traveling band. It's not giving I'm asking for him as a soloist. And so when he said they love his music out here, I was like, sir, where you play the sax at? You're not Kenny G. I don't see where, you're not, Branford or Wynton Marsalis. I'm trying to figure out, like, who is requesting you in Dubai that's not in a small lounge in an isolated area? I just don't see Habibi posters up in places. We don't know you. So I think this man was probably in some type of jazz cover band in a bar for a few months, and he trying to play it off like they're asking him to come out and perform right after Beyonce. It's giving, I think, too highly of myself. And sir, I'm not quite sure that you even play this instrument. I need somebody who may have dropped down in the comments that you heard Habibi's music. It's just giving questionable in a whole lot of levels. I just couldn't with his little fake Mo Better Blues storyline. It just, I don't know. Plus that 11-day pregnancy story about how he met somebody and she was pregnant within 11 days. And, he's always with different women because of him constantly travel. He just meets women where he is. They clearly have him on here just to antagonize us. It's disrespectful. Um, we haven't even paid for this show and I want my money back just because of Habibi. uh I don't know. Plus, did y'all peep how he said he spent like a couple years living in Dubai, but he was in Dallas and he took his coat off and said it was getting hot. When the summers in Dubai can range to like 120 degrees or so, and but Dallas was too hot for you. Not only was my heart breaking for Jessica in this moment, I think at this point she knew he was a fool and wasn't even interested. She was just trying to see how silly did it go. Yeah, I wanted to touch on this moment. I don't I'm trying to be there with Tequila, but this conversation was awkward as hell. Like my heart goes out to Philip because I just feel like, it started off interesting. She looks beautiful, the hair looks great. They're sitting there having this conversation. And then she starts asking these random questions that just don't correlate with what she's trying to get to know him about. She's asking about his spirituality, and she says, do you believe on sex on the I think she asked him something about sex on the first date, or you believe sex before marriage. And so he's expressing how he feels or whatever, and they seem to both be on the same page, I guess. But then she asked him a sexual question, and where's the most interesting place? He wasn't even engaging this way. And I'm just thinking to myself, okay, I don't really have a problem with, these people are spending hours on end with each other and they're trying to have candid conversations and you have a short window, right? So I get this. I personally am not a fan of talking about sex on a first date with a man or a first meeting out. I feel like you can learn about a person without asking those questions. I also don't remember Philip ever mentioning that he was celibate. And I think that's the only time I think that that type of question would come up. So I was just a little thrown by her question, and it was just random. Maybe it was hot. I don't know what's going on. But it also just threw me off because she mentions the question, he answers her question honestly, and then she gives him like a stank face. And I'm just thinking to myself, well, this man is single. He's saying, hey, I've been to this or that. And you asked this question as if you were inquiring to see if he was going to say something spicy. Um, he gave you an answer that was a little bit like, oh, okay, I've never done that before. It wouldn't be my thing, but that's interesting. Instead of having that sort of adult response, it very much gave weird energy, especially because you asked the question, girl. So I just don't know where this was going. And then it's like she talked to him. I knew he was throwing the hell off. And then she moves on to Habibi later on, and we'll talk more about that, and acts like he's a deep cut. Like, girl, what's happening right now? So my two faves for the season so far are meeting up to chit chat. So they got a chance to meet up, and this is Lee and Quentin. They're talking at the confessional. When I tell you, Quentin was smitten with old girl in her red dress. He was immediately cheesing from ear to ear. So I really, really hope that they make it work. I love that they both have a similar lifestyle and background. I think that that can always work in certain situations with people because they understand your life and your schedule. They're both obviously into fitness and taking care of their bodies. So it's not a weird energy as far as like getting up to work out. They understand the lifestyle of being a trainer. I am interested to see why Lee said that she normally doesn't date men in her industry. I wonder where that comes from. I'm assuming sometimes you can be a little intimidating, especially when men are working with women to get in shape in their bodies. Sometimes that could lead to other stuff. Y'all do remember that story with Nivea and her personal trainer that was married. Anyway, so I guess that's why you got to kind of be careful. But I'm definitely interested to see where Quentin and Lee land before the end of the season or by the end of the season. They're definitely right now one of my top favorites. I just like their energy together. They seem so smitten. They have so much in common with their parents being as married for as long as they have been. They clearly both believe in marriage. They're very attracted to each other. So I'm excited to see where they're going to head. Now, this pairing cracked me the hell up. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to take away from some of the deepness of the situation, but when I tell you that Leanne and Pastor Mo, Morier, Pastor Mo is what we call him. It was just the most awkward thing I had ever seen. This lady was clearly interviewing this man. It was the weirdest conversation slash job interview I'd ever seen in my life. The way that they were interacting, it was just stiff as hell. He was really trying to pull out conversation. Poor Pastor Mo. I just feel like he was trying to engage with her and she just wasn't interested. And I feel like a lot of her shutting him down may have been that she wasn't physically attracted to him. But I hate that because at this age, yes, you know what you want and it's you don't have to compromise on all things, but I think sometimes you have to open up a bit more. And to me, Leanne was just so stiff in her approach with him. Them tired ass zodiac signs questions that she kept asking. Girl, where were those leading? Where was this going? What was the hope? Once I say Aquarius and then you give me a little tidbit, where was this headed? And so it just gave that she hasn't either dated in a while or doesn't know how to date. And this is a great moment and when you can use this. Even if you and him are not a match, you still are knowing and learning how to have active conversation as an adult. It was just goofy at one point and I couldn't take it serious. I also thought the vertical challenge thing was a put off. I guess maybe for me, I'm, you know, gonna feel like, yeah, there's definitely something that you can, it's nothing wrong with her pointing that out. But I think if a man had pointed that out about a woman, we would have went off. So I hated that she kind of ran to that. I also think he has a good personality and energy. So I just felt that was weird. And I know all of us were side eyeing the hell out of Leanne. Um, just the way she responded. Now, let me say this. I want to believe that this woman is a good person. And so what I think happened was she genuinely didn't even hear him say that his father passed. I think she was so caught up with the fact that she wasn't into him and she was just waiting for the moments to be over. And he was just saying things that she probably didn't even, I think, really honestly hear him say that because she was so in her head ready to go to the next person. And so as a result, she missed him saying that. But again, what grown ass person doesn't know how to say, I'm sorry for your loss? It was like she just really was. And that's what makes me feel like she didn't hear what he said. And she was just sort of ticking by in her head the moments as she's chomping down on food that he gave her. And she literally said, and then she compared the loss part to her dog being put down. Like, girl, what? It was giving awkward. It's giving just a lack of empathy and sympathy. I hope that she just didn't hear him and maybe was catching the last little bit of something that he said so she could pretend like she was listening. But she was completely unreal in this moment, and it was a done deal at that point for him. I know. And the fact that he kept giving her recovery, because he did say, like, oh, are your parents still alive? Like, to give her an additional moment to like fix what she said, and nothing picked up. And I was like, you have to be the most aloof or just literally not connected to the situation at all. And that's what I think it really was. I think Leanne checked out once she realized she wasn't into him. Unfortunately, she did that while this man was talking about his father passing. And it was just the most awkward thing. And she just kept chewing on that food. I was like, girl, did you eat before you got here? It always shocks me the people that are shocked that they're at the bottom. Over the years as I've watched Ready to Love, I feel like sometimes maybe as the audience members, we can maybe see more. I could give Tequila a benefit of the doubt, and she probably did wonder if she connected with people and they had a decent conversation while she was on the bottom. But I can't imagine that Leanne did not know why she was at the bottom. It just gave awkward almost in every one of her conversations, and she kept pulling out them damn zodiac sign questions, and I'm just like, man, this is not the 70s. Where are you going with these questions? Like, I hate people just ask questions that aren't leading to a place. Once I give you the answer, where is that going? What's your next question? It just gave me, I found these on the internet before I came, and it doesn't give natural conversation. I'm not shocked that these two were at the bottom. I didn't see that much energy from the men on them, and they also mentioned that they didn't really completely connect with them. I feel a bit bad for Tequila because I think she may have had connections that we didn't see on screen, but we're not shocked that we are where we are with this duo. Never would have made it. Let me stop because I cannot sing that every time I see Maury, aka Pastor Mo, in a scene. I'm going to get it's giving very much Marvin Sapp. I actually really love this moment between Tequila and Maury. I feel like a lot of times, it's a lot to go through multiple people in the dating process and to meet all these people in one night, try to pare down who you think you might like, hope that they like you, and then there's this elimination at the end. It just kind of feels a little bit debilitating. It feels tough to go through that and not really know where you stand, and thinking that you stand in a place that you don't, feeling like you don't know if you're getting the right social cues, all of that kind of stuff. So I did feel bad for Tequila in this moment, and I love that instead of it being a situation where we got, I don't know who it was a few seasons back, that when they sat down with the men, they started like interviewing every man to see why it went wrong. And they were so angry in their approach. Understandable that they were disappointed, but they were so upset in their approach with each man that it just came across like, ooh, it was a turn off. And I love that he spoke life into her, as the good Reverend would say. Um, I love that he encouraged her. Sometimes you have to encourage yourself, okay? You have to speak victory during the test. And I feel like Mario just really poured into her. And it was just beautiful to see. I love seeing that as a Black man to a Black woman in general, just having that connection. So I was really, really, really here for this moment. And I'm glad that it sucked some confidence back into her. But did it, because then she still ended up with Habibi. This moment with Red and Unique is just reminding me about how uncomfortable it is to sort of sit with someone who already has a preconceived notion about you or energy. I just did not like her energy with him the whole time. I think he came in really helpful. I won't say helpful. That sounds so weird, but I think he came in really nice and honest. I think he came in like, hey, let's just be open. Let's connect. She said she thought she might have recognized him because I think she's a TV producer and he DJs. And, sometimes those worlds run together occasionally, because I think she works in like entertainment production, not necessarily like news production or anything. So, it was a chance that they had ran into each other. Dallas is a small area. Black folks, despite, Texas being large, Black community in Dallas is, but so many folks. And you run into people, especially in your same industry. What I hated is the stereotyping that she did with his career. I just feel like it was kind of disrespectful. I feel like it wasn't cool. Um, you know, I understood where maybe she was trying to correlate that either women that he meets a lot of women in the jobs that he has because he DJs and he does stuff. But honestly, it was just weird to call his job a thought job. Um, you know, I think he said he was married and is divorced now, whatever, but I don't know that it's a relationship to what he did for a living. But I also just feel like, girl, where was this going? Because if he ultimately had said that to her, we would have went off. There'd have been a letter writing campaign to own network about men disrespecting Black women and all this kind of stuff. It was like, where was this going? And then once you talk to somebody about their job, whether he's a comic or not, and you call their job like a thought job, and you're not really asking like, hey, how do you love the work that you do? Because this is our first time meeting, so this is my first impression of you, and you just already insulting what I do for a living. Like, where are we going from here? So it seemed awkward. It seemed off. It seemed like she didn't know how to socially sit, and also she didn't know how to sit well. It was multiple times in this episode where I just was wondering, like, why she won't sit up straight. It was always leaning back to the side. I didn't know what was going on with Unique. So, and to me, I didn't feel like she presented so impressively to really be so, backhanded with the energy with him. So, much like Red in this moment, in this still set, I was over the moment with her, and I was sort of ready to move on. And I also hated that her wig was not sitting properly. I hate when people wear lace fronts and the wig is not sitting. It looks like, well, you don't have any sort of edges. I'm not saying you got to have the baby hair swoops, but I need it to not just look like you put a wig on your head and then just walked out the door with no sort of care to the sides of your head or how it sits or looks. It wasn't given what I think it should have been given in terms of, you know, proper application. So I think when you already are starting from that, you may want to be kinder to other people. So clearly, we ended the night, the ghetto, the ghetto, the ghetto. We are ending the night with two people who ended up in the bottom, Habibi and Tequila. And they are bonding over the fact that they are in the bottom rung. That is clearly the case. This just felt so much like a desperation alliance. I didn't get deepness from this moment. I didn't get chose and how do I stay? And I just did not understand this. This conversation was so damn unserious. And it's like no matter what he says, she kept saying, well, I enjoy his honesty. I enjoy his authenticity. Habibi could have ran over a baby in traffic. And she'd be like, well, at least he's honest. And I was like, where is this going? It's like the standards dropped out. It's like Pastor Mo hadn't even preached to her earlier. Because all of a sudden it was like anything Habibi said she thought was amazing. The man was like, I cheat on women. But at least he honest. I just did not know where this was going. It definitely felt like a last desperate shot to have somebody that connected and was going to choose her as a person and at least she could count on a vote for. And it just looked sad to me. And I did not understand. I was like, girl, get up. Like, why are you sitting with this fool? And the fact that he said, would you cheat on somebody with me? And she was saying yes. And I was just like, so are we here for love or are we here for high school level dating? Because I just did not know what was going on. This was painful to watch. It just really was. So Tommy has gone around at this point and asked everybody because this mixer is long as hell. We damn near headed into midnight. It's almost as damn long as this review is. We're headed on into midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning. I don't know when this ended. It just was late. And he's sitting down to ask everybody about their top picks. Who did they like? Who did they not like? Who you into? Yada, yada, yada. Because they're going to try to eliminate one of the men from the show. We've already eliminated Leanne earlier, so she could go get her snacks. And we're now on elimination for the men. So he starts going around to the different women. And a name that comes up consistently that the women are not feeling as we see it curve in the night is Habibi. In addition to Brandon, 4 kids, 10 years, 2 marriages to the same woman. Why are you here, bro? And so, he's sitting down with Tequila, I believe, Unique and Janelle, and he's having a conversation with them to see who they're feeling. And he starts to talk to them, and um this is when Tequila reveals that her alliance connection with Habibi is real and strong. And he asked the other woman, and Janelle's like, Habibi is a whole fool, as we all could see. And he's clearly just saying whatever he needs to stay around. And Tequila gets angry, and she ain't playing. She is on Krishan level, and it gets worse, as we have seen in the trailer. But she is on some my man, my man, my man energy. And she just met this brother this night. And not only is he a whole fool, but you met him less than 6 hours ago? We're scraping 2 a.m. and this is how you respond, saying people just don't understand real love. And I'm saying to myself, not you being 35, 36 on ride or die energy. Girl, you would have thought it was when Cookie met Lucius. I didn't know what was going on at this point. I could not understand. I didn't know if the liquor was taking over. Again, these people with these alcohol names, I tell you, sometimes they be having some of that energy. It just was weird. It was awkward. And I did not understand. I wanted to look around the grounds for her self-esteem and hand it back to her because it was all the way gone. So that's it for my first review of Dallas, y'all. I'm definitely excited for this season. It looks like it's going to get a bit spicy. It looks like it's going to be a little bit of Zeus action, some fights, some arguments. Somebody's going to get extra loud for no reason. I'm definitely seeing some of the drama play out, but it also looks like we might have some love connections. Again, this is Ready to Love. We know what to expect. We certainly are going to see some people connect. We're going to see some people disconnect. We're going to see people end up at the reunion arguing about how so-and-so was nasty. This person's a mean girl. This person was a problem. He was dating her. She was sleeping with him. So we know what to expect from Ready to Love at this point. I do hope that we get a genuine connection out of this. I'm really rooting for Quentin and Lee. At this moment, they're the only people that sort of connect for me. But child, I rooted for Venetia and Joel just to find out he was a whole fool. So at this point, I have leaned back off of hoping for anything other than an entertaining time this season. And with the writer strike going on right now, honey, I'm just like, look, this is all we got left is its reality shows and reruns. So drop down in the comments. I want to know, what do y'all think? I love and thank y'all for joining me so much. I hope that this was enjoyable. Drop down in the comments. Let me know how you like the review. Let me know who are your favorite couples this season. Let me know, are you excited or not excited about another season of Ready to Love? How we feeling? If you are from Dallas, ladies, let us know what the dating scene is like out there. And I'll see y'all in the next one.